Hey everybody, it's Dalton. I'm getting ready to go out fishing tomorrow, and I'm getting ready for my favorite time of the year, and I'm a year-round fisherman. I love to fish all seasons, but my favorite season, without a doubt, is the fall. Right now we're in the transitional period of going into fall. The reason I know this is the nights are getting colder. In my area of California, the lake that I'm going to fish tomorrow, I've been watching the evenings on the weather report, and they've been getting down to 40, 50 degrees in the middle of the night. This is telling me we are now not in fall, but we're in that fall transition. I want to talk to you about fall bass fishing. And to me, of any time of the year when you come into the fall, this is the easiest time to find bass. They make it easy for you, and I'm going to tell you why. I want you to think of one thing: bait fish. Bait fish, bait fish. Now, bait fish at the lake I'm going to are called shad. They vary in size. Some of them are like right around maybe an inch. Some of them are around 4 inches. And these are the baits that the bass are going to be chasing around all through the fall. You know, in a day of, we're such high-tech people now. We have all of these high-tech gadgets, and there's just some incredibly expensive fish finders. I mean, there's fish finders up to $5,000 to $8,000. But the one thing that's never changed since I was a kid is a bass. A bass has never changed. The bass is the same today as he was 100 years ago. And so when it comes to the fall, there's certain things you want to look for to find those bass. Look for bait. Find bait. A lot of times this bait is going to be packed up on flats. And that's where the land is flat coming into the water, and it can be shallow anywhere from 4 to 10 feet way out in the water column. It looks like you're in the middle of the lake, but you're on this flat. You're really in shallow water. Bait fish pack in there during this time of the year, and the bass are going to be in there feeding. You want to look at the backs of coves. As we get further into fall, these bass are going to get these bait fish trapped way in the back of coves so they can eat them. They actually trap them back there. But one of the biggest indicators of bait are birds. A lot of the lakes that I fish are not far from the ocean, so seagulls are one of the birds that I'm looking for. If I'm out there fishing and I see even one seagull and he's hovering over an area and he won't leave, he's telling me something. There's bait there. The other birds I look for are loons. They pack up together. They're kind of sitting up on top of the water. They dive down. They eat bait fish. I'm looking for them. But my number one fish finding bird, I love them, is a heron. Those are the ones with big old long legs. You're going down, you're fishing a bank line, or you're hauling down on your boat, and all of a sudden you look over and here's this heron on the shoreline, or his feet's in the water. He's looking down. He's eating bait fish. You need to go over there and fish. So in the fall, just think about bait fish. Now, thinking about that, what kind of lures do you want to use? I'm going to use anything that looks like a bait fish. And what I'm going to do is cover the entire water column from top, middle to bottom. So let me show you kind of what I set up for tomorrow. On my top water, I just have a 4-inch top water called a Berkley J-Walker, okay? This is a great bait. It's the kind of bait that you walk on top of the water, and everybody has their favorite top waters, whether it be buzz baits, spinner bait, or not spinner baits, but whopper ploppers and frogs. I think most people, their favorite top water is a frog. A frog is not my favorite top water. My favorite top water is a walking bait. And so tomorrow I'm going to be throwing this because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a top water bite. One of the next baits I'm going to throw, and I think one of the best crankbaits there is for fall fishing, is a square bill. This is a little Strike King KVD 1.5. It runs about 3 to 5 feet. Now, what I'm looking for out there is what I call shallow flats. I'm looking for that anywhere from 1 to 10 foot of water, and this is something that's going to catch a lot of fish in the fall because they're chasing bait that looks just like this. It's a great bait. Another bait that I am 100% a tube fisherman. You give me a tube and I'm going to find a way to catch fish. My favorite tube of all time is the Strike King. I don't remember the name of this, but I'll write it down for you. But this Strike King tube is the best tube that I have ever used. This color is called KVD Kick. And I tell you what, you can catch a lot of bass in the fall on these tubes. And hopefully I'll catch some tomorrow so that I can kind of show you how I'm using it. I do have some other videos on how I use a tube. Now let's think about the bait fish. When you think about the bait fish, they come anywhere from about 1 inch all the way up to 4 inches at the lake I'm fishing. So for the bigger bait fish, I'm going to use this big, well, it's not big, it's 3.25. It's a Strike King Rage Swimmer, okay? And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to put it on the head of a bladed jig, which is a chatterbait. I took the skirt off. Most of these jigs come with skirts. I took the skirt off, and this is also called a vibrating jig. And this little head will go back and forth, and it literally makes this bait do this, and it's really attractive for the bass. That's one way I'm going to get them. But another way that I'm going to get them is I'm going to take, and hopefully you can pick some of these up, these Rage Swimmers. This one here is a 2.75. The other one I showed you is a 3.25. And this is the 2.75 Rage Swimmer. Any type of bait fish color will work. I have it on a really tiny 1/16 ounce jig head. You can use any jig head of choice. This one here happens to be a shroom, the same thing I use for a Ned rig. And I put that on there, and let me tell you why I use such a light jig head. Rate of fall. So if I'm in an area where I know that there's a lot of bait, I have to test the rate of fall. I'll take that tube, which has got a 3/8 ounce goby head in it. I'll throw it out there to see if they're going to take the rate of fall coming down fast. I mean, that tube comes down and it just goes thump on the bottom of the water. But then I'll take this on a 1/16 ounce jig head, 8-pound test fluorocarbon. And when I throw that out there, the rate of fall of that bait is going to be very slow, and that tail is going to be wiggling all the way down. And a lot of times I get my fish two ways on this. One, they're going to hit it right in the middle of the water column while it's coming down. Or two, as soon as it hits the bottom, they hit it. But regardless, what I'm trying to do, no matter what bait you use, in the fall, match what the bass are eating in terms of bait fish. And you're going to catch bass. Sure hope I have a good report for you tomorrow and how I'm doing out there. I'm looking forward to this fall, and it's right now it's the fall transition. We're coming up on an awesome time to catch large numbers of fish. I hope this little video helps. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.